Thank you for joining us wherever you are. This podcast episode is brought to you by the Old Ways Actual Play team. This actual play uses the 7th edition Call of Cthulhu tabletop role-playing game rules by Chaosium. This actual play is performed by adults and in an adult setting. While we try very hard to stick to languages for all ages, listeners should know that this podcast may include mature themes. All content, including names, places, events, companies, and etc., that may bear resemblance to entities living or dead, is strictly coincidental. My name is Michael Diamond, and for tonight's game, I will be your keeper. Thank you for joining us again on another episode of the Old Ways Podcast. I'm your keeper, Keeper Michael, and we return to Masks of Nyarlathotep in the Egypt chapter. And so, we will, at the top of the show, we would like to thank all of our listeners, all of our Patreon supporters, anyone who's shared or reviewed the show. We love and adore you so much. If you would like to join us on the Patreon side, we would welcome you there. And that's at patreon.com/theoldwayspodcast. And so we're going to begin with introductions to my right.
This is Tiffany, and I play Meave O'Shea, and I'm locked in a vault.
You are indeed, with a very strange and somewhat mystical Dr. Kafur, it seems.
Yeah, he said he'd teach me that trick. I'm excited.
We have such sights to show you. To Miss O'Shea's right.
I'm Morgan. I play Lillian Lane, and I am stuck back at the safe house with some injured folks.
You are assisting in their recouping at least a little bit. It has been a long series of nights for you in the desert, and actually having a bed is quite comforting.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the table.
This is Jake. I'm playing Jack Doyle, and I'm feeling it's not the years, it's the mileage.
Yeah, I'm imagining Jack probably with a bottle or two now empty in the medicinal sense as you attempt to heal up from the terrible, terrible secret of space that befell you. To Jack's right.
This is James. I'll be playing Dr. Sigmund Tartenbach, and I think I have new parts since we came to Egypt because they all hurt.
Undoubtedly, the warranty is probably void on a few of them now. And last one, well, certainly not least.
This is Alex playing Saint Baron, who is running headlong into an early grave.
That is absolutely possible. And so we're going to raise the curtain tonight on a vault. A very strange vault. Miss O'Shea, you have been spending a few hours, it seems. Days, perhaps? It's hard to tell. Time is very liquid here. But you're passing your eyes and fingers over a series of scrolls. Very voluminous tomes. All sorts of information, mystical, mundane, or otherwise. It's going to afford you the opportunity to potentially learn something very dramatic. You can feel it in your bones. There's a secret here. There's something within these scrolls, many things, but there is one thing waiting for you here.
Okay, can I concentrate to close your eyes and put your finger on a page kind of thing?
No, it's really more of an impulse. You take these large scroll pages and you begin flipping them one after another, deeper and deeper and deeper into this vault of knowledge. And as you do so, you're immediately transfixed by a specific row of lettering. It's in a language you can't possibly understand for the moment until your mind kind of snap focuses on the first word. And you begin reading a tale about a creature who, not of this earth, but a creature with vast knowledge that was able to transcend the mortal form, was able to, with that power, pluck from the darkness someone they called out by name and pulled from that darkness into the prime physical world they stood in. It's a fascinating tale. And furthermore, the scrolls go into the method by which this could be done. The incantations, the requirements, something about some sort of essence of this being one would need. And you become sort of enraptured with the idea of the power this could bring to you. Your ability to move beyond the veil of life and death and bring something to you. And so I would like you to make me an intelligence roll. The Hand of Fate will put you at advantage for this roll.
Oh, nice. That's a 71 out of 90, and I reroll the 10s, right?
You do.
Thank you, Hand of Fate.
Indeed. Oh, well, that's an 11 out of 90.
So that is an extreme success.
Thank you, Hand of Fate.
You realize something very specific about this working over the time that you read it. It isn't plucking something from beyond the veil and bringing it back.
It's like someone.
It's returning someone from the land of the dead.
Oh. Okay. Like necromancy.
This working here at the end of the lines, these last few etchings, scratched with some sort of, you imagine, pen, some sort of sharpened tool, if nothing else. It states that when they return, provided the essence is available, they return to the corpus they held.
Oh, like it would return them whole, like physically.
Yes.
Well, see, Tiffany knows everybody would want me to use this on Lawrence. However, Maeve thinks of her father. So,
Certainly.
what kind of requirements is it asking for?
The requirements are a bit of physical power.
Okay.
From the caster. And the biggest requirement is to have their essence.
So, theoretically, if I'm thinking, then like we could use Lawrence's stone.
Theoretically, that could be possible.
It says their essence. So it's either something like I either have to be able to mystically reach out for their essence,
No, this spell working speaks
like
specifically of physical. It is the anchor point which you are bringing their spirit to. Without it, there is no place to focus the energy of the spell.
Okay. Basically, well, out of character, like a fetter.
Sort of, yeah.
Okay.
The working is very complex, Miss O'Shea. It is costly, but it could potentially bring your father back. After consuming this knowledge, you come out of this dream state. You come out of it and it is 7 hours has passed. Your body feels like it's been a few minutes.
This is neat.
Kafur is sitting in a chair across the vault, sipping a glass of tea, looking directly over at you. He's ashen-faced, sweating, It looks like he's been through an ordeal.
Are you okay?
He just slowly nods. You suddenly realize how thirsty you are.
I'll look around for something to drink.
There's like an entire pitcher of water.
I'll drink it.
You consume the entire pitcher.
Nice.
I don't know where I was. I got lost out there.
You didn't stay here?
No, the working allows me to work through certain mystical incantations.
Oh.
I was gone for what seemed like weeks. He puts the glass down. You can see his hand shakes a little bit. And he covers his other hand with it to try to soothe himself. I am going to take an extended rest period. It might be best for you to return to the safe house.
Yeah, I think you should get some rest. Are you sure you're going to be okay?
I am. I will be all right. I have taken precautions.
Okay. Well, thank you for everything and for your help.
Did you find what you were looking for?
I found something, and I think I was looking for it and didn't know it.
Huh. I have had very similar events. Do be careful.
I try my best.
He walks you to the vault door. He's a little shaky, just trying to walk. He opens the vault.
I'll step out. Are you staying here? Do you want me to walk with you?
No, I'm staying here.
Okay. Well, you stay safe.
And, Miss O'Shea, if I might, one last thing.
Uh-huh.
It might be best if you left Cairo. All of you.
I think that's the plan.
And I'm not certain the museum past opening hours would be safe either. So we may not see each other.
Also seems probably safer for you.
Indeed.
I thank you, and I will make sure that we get a move on.
Wonderful. Good luck.
Thank you. Good luck to you.
He shuts the vault door. Sam, for the better part of 2 or 3 hours, you and Nerys track through the old city this scent. Nerys is an exceptional hunter. It's plain. And while she doesn't use her hybrid form, just as a regular person, just as a seemingly regular person, she's an effective hunter. You track this scent to what appears to be maybe an old apartment. It's tall. It's taller than some of the other ones around it. It looks like it hasn't been used in maybe weeks, months. The doors here are half ajar. The windows, which are, well, mostly rotted, have seen better days. But you track this Alexandra, or whomever she is now, to this apartment. And after a very, very careful setup, you and Nerys enter the building. And you can smell some sort of reptilian tinge to the air here. And it leads deeper into the center of the building, this apartment. And you come to a common courtyard, which has probably the remains of some scrub grass that at one point grew, a few clotheslines for the people here, and a few barrels. And in the center of the courtyard, the two of you come upon a very long and wide snakeskin. Not green and brown like you'd seen before, but white. And it's papery. It's thin.
It gets dried.
Nerys picks it up and she says, she, molted? She shed it?
I look on in disbelief, kind of wide-eyed. I don't really know that I understand what we're looking at here. When we saw her, she had a snake-like appearance. When they were hovering over the altar, there was definitely they did not appear human.
No. Not entirely, that's for certain. You would say upper body of a human. You would say lower body of a snake.
Huh.
Some sort of naga. Are there any number of mythological creatures?
And this thing is about the same size as this molted skin we're seeing. Could this have come from I don't know what to call them, Hierophant? Cultist seems passe. I don't know. The queen.
It's possible. Unfortunately, it's hard to say. And even Nerys looks a little befuddled.
Is this what we've been tracking? Where's the queen?
The scent is here, but I don't... She begins to sort of work concentric circles around the courtyard.
Oh, you're kidding me.
She must have shed whatever form she was using.
Whether or not she knew she was being followed, this is it. The trail stops here.
Nerys sort of stands back up to full height. It seems she has led you on a merry chase.
I do my best to not begin seething, as it's been a very long night. So this was... We besieged Bast, I suppose. Getting one over on a cat goddess might be something one might be inclined to want to do as well.
It will be very hard for Bast to find the Viper if she walks as one of us. She could be anywhere now.
Or anyone.
Indeed. But a fun game, nonetheless. Nerys tries to smile.
I'm sorry. It's clear that this queen has designs on Cairo, on Egypt. I'm sure this won't be the last you see of her. Whatever shape she takes.
Well, perhaps Bast can teach you something by this. Perhaps patience.
Patience. You know, that doesn't sound like an awful idea.
Not every hunt is successful.
No, they couldn't be. I don't know that I'll be able to continue it, though. I don't know if I should. Actually, the list of things that I don't know is growing by the moment.
Then I think it might be good for you to decide what you do know. As for what Bast decides to do with this queen that has been brought to Cairo, that will be her decision.
Had centuries to wait. I don't assume this queen is in a hurry. There's years of axes to grind.
Indeed. And let me put it plainly. I don't believe Bast is interested in becoming anywhere near the top of that list.
Of course.
If this priestess decides to make a direct attack or some sort of problem for the children of the cistern, then of course Bast will protect her place.
Egypt's a large place. There's a process to these things. One would have to build a power base, following. Not that there's not a bunch of headless followers right now wandering around wishing they had something to die for.
Men with weak minds are always around.
Thank you for everything.
I will go and rest.
There are cats in every corner of the world.
There are cats in places where there are no corners.
And now you're just playing with me. I will hold my head for a moment and I'll gather the skin.
It's kind of crunchy.
Yeah. I can't leave this here And the doctor would not be happy if he found out that I left it behind. So I wrap it up.
You gather it and you make your exit. Nerys wishes you good luck. And she says that Bass will watch over you.
I don't doubt that. I make my way back to the house.
Near dawn, Miss Lane, your window is struck by a very light sound.
Like somebody tapping on it?
Something.
Okay. I get up and go to the window. Before I open it, can I see anything out there?
You see the pre-dawn Cairo streets.
But I don't see any like person or thing sitting right outside the window.
You do not.
Okay. Guess I open the window to see if I can look either way.
You open the window. You see, as you open the window, something falls directly onto the windowsill in front of you. It's small. It's maybe 3 or 4 inches long. It looks like it's a rolled up piece of paper.
Okay. But I don't see any person or
No.
animal or...
Nope.
Okay. Well, I unroll the piece of paper. I look in the mirror and see how I look. I read the note and I have a robe on, so I put it in my pocket, and then I go find the doctor's things.
Okay. He's passed out, as is
fine.
Jack.
That's
you find
fine.
his bag.
I find his. I grab his bag and take it with me to the roof.
Okay. She absconds with your bag,
I'll bring it back.
unbeknownst to you.
Yep.
Right.
That bag gets around.
Right.
It's heavy. It's heavier than you think it would be.
I'm holding it with 2 hands.
You head to the roof, and on the roof, in sort of a makeshift chair that was used a couple of days ago, you find a fairly beaten up Sam laying against the roof.
Is he awake? Are you?
Yeah, his bare feet are cracked and bloodied and blistered from hours of desert trekking with no shoes. Yeah, his hands are beat up from the climb. There's a fresh puncture wound in the meat of his back from a fall. Yeah, he's pretty ruined.
I go and kneel next to Sam and open up the doctor's bag and pull out some gauze and whatnot that he might have. And if I can find any like rubbing alcohol or, just regular alcohol that I can pour over the wounds.
Did she come alone?
It's seemingly, yeah.
I did.
There's a full complement of medicines within the bag. You
Okay.
have first aid, so it's not hard to identify some of the things that you should use.
Right.
Some of the more complex items in the bag you would need medicine to use.
That's fine. I'm going to. Does anything look life-threatening on him other
And
than?
all of it is potentially infectious
Well,
and thus life-threatening.
So I start cleaning it up with like the rubbing
Okay.
alcohol and everything.
You continue to surprise me, Lillian. I've always known you to be a person with conviction, principle, no small amount of courage. But what I saw at the altar, your act of defiance in the face of unknowable power. I mean, you knew what was happening was wrong, and you hit that mummy with every fiber of your being, and even though it didn't break, you stood your ground. And, I watched the frustration in your eyes when they let that queen witch depart into the darkness, and I heard your calls to reason. What did you say? Is this who we are now? You said that.
I did, and I'm starting to wrap Sam's wounds.
Like I know it's not your way to sow dissent if you don't see a path forward, and I couldn't bring myself to suffer in silence. So I tracked I tracked it across the desert into Cairo. And while I can't say I'm satisfied with the resolution, I don't know that there's much more that I can hope to do to dismantle any plans it might have. I'm sorry.
Well, there's nothing more for us to do here, but where were you during the battle? We could have used your help.
Omar did something to me at the altar. I'd gotten in a position to attack. I'd crafted a decoy in hopes of drawing him out and revealing himself after decapitating the mummy. I thought maybe if we could liberate the spirit and it had no place to go, it would go home. But he dug his claws into my mind and cracked something there. And I saw glimpses of a life that I didn't know I'd held onto. And if those memories are mine, then it could be, the others might not be gone forever. And if those parts can be reclaimed, then maybe there's hope for me. He let something slip out, as he is wont to do, it seems, when taunting me. And he asked if I was satisfied taking the queen's head with my blade, and he told me that he could feel it and that it's connected to his master. The whisper in darkness is what the ritual called it, or you might call them Nivrin Ka or the Black Pharaoh. But it is cursed, and it has cursed me with a wanton bloodlust. I have an insatiable urge to seek death in its many forms, and everywhere I look, I imagine scenes of violence and blood and pain and gore. And it's only growing more demanding. And I know I need the doctor's help. And maybe the ritual can be undone. Maybe it can be redeemed. I have to remain its custodian nonetheless, because I can't destroy it. I can't bury it or hide it. So hopefully with the doctor's help, I can unravel some of the damage it's caused. I find it ironic that I get to use it to be a thorn in his side for as long as I might live anyway. Look, I understand if you feel unsafe or unsure as to whether I present a risk, and I don't blame you. I listened to Meave rebuke her mentor. She drew a line. I watched her stand up to what represents the worst of what she is at risk of becoming. And if she can ride the line where any of her missteps could mean the end of all of you, and you can find it in yourself to believe in her, I have to believe I can do the same.
I might tighten his bandages a little harder than I need to. So Lillian's kind of just taking everything that Sam is saying in, but I don't think I saw Sam at the battle at all, because he was hiding, right?
The last you would have seen
Was on top of the hill.
Was on top of the temple.
Or the temple.
When people were sliding down. You would have seen him in that run off the temple. You would have seen some sight of him leave the temple area to go out towards the ritual site. And after he got beyond torchlight,
I didn't see anything. Yeah, so at the battle, you kind of you disappeared. I didn't see you. Do you know that Otto died?
He died on the roof, yes.
But did you see that? Did you see that?
So I passed them. I was on the roof when they were coming up the stairwell, and I ran past them and told them to run when that thing was coming. I didn't look back. I never looked back at what was chasing me.
Yeah, so Otto died, and you weren't there for the battle, and then you said you went and ran after the priestess.
I watched, like I said, from the distance. And when Omar appeared, you dispatched him with a pretty well-aimed shot.
After our compatriots got injured. I mean, they were already injured to begin with. I mean, Jack and the doctor are, lucky to be alive.
As I said, I tried to draw him out. I made a decoy because I couldn't see him. Now, after he was dead, I didn't know what to do because what I saw was the people that I was supposed to be there with siding with this witch and letting it go into the world to do who knows what. So I chased it.
Right, but you can't just keep going off and running off by yourself. You want us to trust you?
No, I'm not asking you to trust me. I'm begging you to let me trust you. Your judgment, your principles, the conviction that stood in defiance of the ritual I was doing. We're the good guys, you said. That's what you told me.
Yes. Yeah, we are the good guys.
And I didn't know what you meant, and I still don't. But I need to. There has to be more. I have to be more than just a killer. I'm going to always be a killer. There's no changing that. But maybe with your guidance, I don't have to make that my identity. And you could rightly say you don't want any part of my help. And while I would understand that sentiment, I have never, nor would I ever threaten a member of this team. The singular exception now being that further threats to my life will not go unanswered. I've survived too much to be bullied by Jack or anyone else. But I'm a man of my word. And I can promise you now that if you allow me to learn from you, to look to you for guidance.
So you want me to be like your North Star? Like,
Look, more so than Maeve, I see a power in you. And it's not a strength that someone will be able to contain behind misguided chivalry. It's the strength that inspired Forsyth to follow you. And I dig his stone out of my pocket and I hold it in front of her. And it's not the gift that some alien god gave to you. And perhaps it's unfair of me to ask you to take that role in my life. And maybe you've already deemed me unworthy of respect or kindness.
I haven't deemed you. You're not unworthy of it. You just need to be there and be present.
I would like to earn that.
If you're going to run off and go do something to hunt something down, bring somebody with you that can back you up. That's part of being a team. I mean, that I've killed people. I just killed Omar. I mean, and it haunts you, but you're not the only one that has tragedy in their background. Yours might be a little different than mine, but it's still tragedy. So you're not unworthy of kindness.
Why don't you go ahead and give me a first aid roll?
Yeah. Just wondering when you're going to tell me that. With my new dice. I got a 66 out of 65. I'll spend a point of luck to make it a success.
Very good. Sam, you can heal a single point of damage.
Nice.
But more than that, it seems Miss Lane is probably a little firmer with the bandages than you were expecting, but
that's how you do it.
He's not unworthy of my kindness, but he does need to earn trust back because he ran off in the dark.
Miss Lane, you finish reattaching parts of him and bandaging wounds and preventing him from getting infections. The sun is now beginning to rise, and it illuminates a figure walking up the street towards the safe house.
Do I know who it is?
You're not certain.
Oh.
Because they're a bit far off. But as they get closer and closer, it's very clearly someone headed for this house. A feminine figure.
Oh. It's probably Maeve. Maybe.
Mr. Shea, you arrive back at the safe house just as dawn begins to warm your back. It's actually quite a pleasant walk here in the morning. The long street, this sort of cul-de-sac where it ends at, all of the sun shines directly down this corridor.
I'll probably let Slander out so he can get some sun. And then I'm going to look for Jack first.
Okay. So upon entering the house,
Yeah.
you, with not too much of an inquiry about, you can see that everybody here appears to be resting.
Well, we gotta get our asses moving.
Don't tell me.
So I'm going to go wake up Jack.
Okay. So still probably a little bleary from the meds and the alcohol and everything else.
The meds and the meds.
Right.
Yes.
Jack, how are you waking him up? Just
You're sleeping in your bed?
Actually, I will sleep on the couch
okay. So yeah,
with the gun.
You probably
Right.
wake up just a little bit as she's walking through the living space. Not with a start by any means.
Just that grumbly wake.
Yeah, it's like it feels like someone put a bunch of cotton in your head. You're sort of a little dim.
Jack,
Miss O'Shea.
we have to go.
What?
We cannot stay in Cairo. We need to move.
Well, yeah, I know we can't stay in Cairo. We have to go, but you have noticed that this is quite the infirmary at the moment.
I understand that, but I was warned by somebody who, is familiar with the place, even says that the museum is not safe. We need to move.
Well, we can move. We can pack it. Well, our stuff are already packed. We can start moving around a little bit. We do have a couple loose ends to tie up.
Here?
Another pyramid.
Yeah, but that's not in Cairo.
Well, right. The Clive expedition.
Right. So I figured we could go find some place to stay near there.
Okay, yeah, we can do that.
Miss Lane, are you bringing Sam back down through the roof?
No, I am going to bring him back
Okay.
down and bring him to the living room or help him down. I'm not carrying him because
Yeah.
I will dutifully follow.
You're pretty beat up. Your feet hurt like all sorts.
Yeah, but now I'm wearing bandage socks.
That's true. So Miss Lane comes down through the staircase into the living room, that far stairway. She walks down and you see Lillian, and then you see eventually Sam enter the picture.
and I've got the doctor's bag.
Which at this point is probably going to rouse the doctor, as there are 4 bodies now moving around.
He comes out extremely bleary-eyed, leaning on a cane, on his cane very heavily.
Jack, you reach into your jacket, which is sitting on the couch, for your cigarettes, and you realize you're out.
I don't know if I can take another disappointment today.
Guten Morgen, everyone.
We need to pack. I understand that not everybody's in great shape. I get that. But I also don't want to endanger the people that are here that helped us. And after the nonsense, we are compromised.
Yeah, I actually agree. We do have to move. Most of our stuff is already packed. We had gotten it ready to go. But we do have a bit of an elephant in the room at the moment.
I'm gonna go make some tea, and because we should probably eat and talk. Yep. So I'll go into the kitchen and grab some, if there's bread and fruit and stuff.
You find the last vestiges of the food that Otto bought at the market. It is a stark reminder of what is left.
Yeah, Otto was not here to.
Yeah.
I boil a pot of hot water and in a kettle, assuming they have kettles.
Yep.
And bring a tray out to the living room where everybody is, instead of making everybody come into the kitchen.
Sure. So after tea is made, in a series of silent moments pass, the remaining vestiges of the investigators sit at the same table they had dinner at just a few nights ago, before all of this craziness began.
So, Sam, haven't seen you in a bit.
Not since my escape from the nightmare puddle. Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of missed you. Specifically, during
You're
that,
asking why I didn't fire on Omar?
well, to take part at all. I mean, I saw you made a nice little mannequin.
Yes, I had gotten in a position to attack, and because I couldn't see Omar, I sought to draw him out. I even laid a trap to hear him or something. I don't know. I was working with what I had. And after I decapitated the mummy, he broke into my mind.
Yeah.
And then when he reappeared, he got shot in the neck. And then I was stuck watching, not knowing who this person was, this queen soul sucker, snake witch, however you want to call her. I don't know their name. You all seemed familiar with her. Familiar enough to unleash them on Egypt unimpeded. So I didn't know what to do.
Well, not exactly unimpeded.
Well, no, she was chastised, yes. But I've had my life threatened for much less.
And the Brotherhood is not exactly gone. Headless, sure, but it'll take time for her to build up and fight against them.
I don't know that she cares for them. I mean, how?
It's there can only be room for one power in Egypt. Anyhow, it doesn't matter. We have a far more pressing issue. We don't have the time to take on yet a whole nother power center here in Egypt.
I know.
And we were in no position last night to do it. That's for certain.
I thought perhaps if she was in a weakened state, it would be our only chance, considering how powerful she was. I took the only shot that I thought we had. It amounted to nothing. Her trail ended cold. And I will remove the skin from the bag, kind of unfurl it on the table in front of the tea. This is what we found. What remains of her trail.
Yeah, but that is not power. That is not a power we want to take on right now. I understand your position there. I do. But it's not something we want to take on at the moment. We really should be leaving Cairo, and perhaps Egypt altogether.
I don't disagree. I want to help. I'm trying to help.
I mean, we came on top this time, mostly. But it wasn't a total victory, and it wasn't a crushing one. We're living on borrowed time at the moment.
So what now?
Well, we need to go to the bent pyramid.
Who's fit to travel? Or do we all just need to go?
We need to move it regardless.
Yeah, I mean, regardless, we need to get out of Cairo.
That was our position before the whole situation popped up. But, Sam, if you want to come with us, there's going to be some stipulations. Okay?
You have my attention.
One, we want to know where you're going. We don't want you disappearing on these personal missions with your own plans without letting us know what's going on. Now, I understand things change in the heat of the moment and when situations are fluid, but try to keep us updated. Right now, you just do whatever you want.
Because I'm possessed, Jack, by a force that I can't control by myself. I've always been a killer, but now I need to kill.
Sounds like a psychological problem. I understand that. I've dealt with that before. You kill often enough, sometimes you start to enjoy it, and that's when it becomes a problem.
This is different.
There is also such a thing as addiction. Even to some things as heinous as that.
Like I've asked Lillian for her help. I will ask you as well. I will ask all of you. I'm burdened. I'm cursed. And my thoughts and my memories are crashing into one another. So rather than use my infinite amount of self-justification available to meet my need, I'm willing to simply defer to someone who might believe in. I'll look at Lillian.
Yes, I see. I know. I understand what you need. You need somebody a guide, if you will. A moral guide. That brings us to point 2. We don't want to hear any more about the books and the power and all of that. We're going to try to share it as equally as everyone allows, but we don't want to have any more fights over it. Not one more.
There's nothing that I know that I would be unwilling to share with anyone here.
But you also have to understand that there are things that some of us know that we cannot share for the safety of everyone. Yeah. And that must be a boundary that you must respect. If you cannot respect the things that we need to keep dear and dear to us, to keep everyone safe, then that is just as bad, yeah.
I'll do my best to respect your judgment and your privacy.
As for your psychological problems, Sam, I have an idea. I cannot be 100% certain that it will be successful, but I might be able to help you with the part of your mind that is not functioning properly.
You mean there's not just... I was assuming there was more than one.
Well, one part, two parts, all the parts. A mechanism can be fixed, Sam. All you must do is take it to a specialist.
I know I could depend on you, Doctor. That's why I brought you the dead thing.
Yes. Doc, by the way, fingers the snake skin on the table out of kind of interest.
I'll try not to throw up.
Yeah, it actually, Doctor, it reminds you an awful lot of some of the molting that you saw on a patient in your hospital. It's almost this, in your clinic, it's almost this hybrid skin, this part human, like you remember being on the shores of Lake Michigan one summer and you got in a bad sunburn, and Lily had assisted you because, of course, she's the only one that would put sort of some lotion on your shoulders to help it. And you remember that night the distinct feeling of your skin being warm even as the night had cooled and as the skin had eventually raised up and gotten this sort of papery texture when you peeled. It's like that, except that the grooves, instead of there being the sort of winding patterns in some of the skin, there's actual scale markings. So there's a raised and almost embossed feel to it.
Intrigue. Doc saves a sample. Does this hit perhaps too close to home? He levels a look and half a smile.
Yeah, we'll get to that. So, Sam.
Jack.
Is there anything else that anybody else wants to bring up as we're dealing with Sam?
I already said my piece on the roof. I kicked Doctor's bag over to him. Gently.
You said it quite sternly. Message received.
All right, 'cause I don't want any miscommunications here. I want to keep this as above board as possible.
Look, I heard everything that Meave said on that roof. I don't... And I will look directly at Meave. When we were on the stairs and you said that I don't trust you, when I said I didn't trust Yig, it was because I knew I couldn't. But I trust what you said to that person. That... I don't know. Who are they?
Speakers of the Nile?
Who is that?
Worshippers of Yig.
No. Who was it to you?
Oh, that's, that was Alexandra Swift.
Was the first I've heard of her.
Oh, right, because you weren't with us when we were in Chicago. Her brother was, he had gone off the rails. And that's how, I found all this stuff.
He eventually ended up entertaining a hobby of spelunking without us, but at some point, we did encounter him in the Chicagoland area, yeah.
Do you think that they'll be able to not lose themselves spirit wrestling with an immensely powerful resurrected pharaoh?
I don't know if that's her path. I don't know what Yig has in store for her. And that is not my need to know, I guess. I was not informed. I do know that to go after the crawling chaos and all of that, we will need help more than just us. If that hasn't been made abundantly clear.
I think we're in agreement. Like I said, I heard you, and I believe you. I know you've never been a threat to these people or to your goals. I was concerned about the influence that this God has on you.
He has an influence, but I also... See, the thing is a lot... Yig is not good or evil.
Good and evil are subjective terms anyway.
Correct. But you gotta understand that everybody else to him is tiny, insignificant. We live a short period of time. That's why a lot of these elder beings see us.
I understand that.
So if I have favor, it doesn't mean that... And if he chooses to still back me, even though I will not be insane and throw everything I have, then that's the way it is. But I am not going to turn into what we are fighting. That seems silly.
Does it though? I mean, it seems like a bad idea, but does it really seem that out there? And nonetheless, it's irrelevant now.
Besides, Doc stands up, starts to head towards his room. There are many ways to get to Rome.
Yeah, so, Jack, are we going to the Bent Pyramid?
Yes, we're going to the Bent Pyramid.
Should we change your bandages before we go to the Bent Pyramid?
Yes, we should change my bandages before we go to the Bent Pyramid.
Okay.
And I need a cigarette.
So the group gathers their things, what belongings they have, because they're going to be leaving 20 miles south of Cairo to Darshur. And so I think we're going to let the episode come to a close there. So thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Masks of Nyarlathotep. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I look forward to releasing a next one into the ether next week.